Good evening, goblins and gribblies, creatures of the night. Welcome back once more to the third part of our third annual installment of the Goblins of Zarth online event, brought to you by the Australian role-playing community. And we are a wonderful crew from Tabletop Dynasties, and we're very excited to be here to conclude the final step of this three-phase game, Roots. It's a new chapter where we're exploring beyond the boundaries of Zaranthrul, the wonderful setting where goblins rule and all other races are pushed to the periphery of society or live in service of the Zarth Empire. Of course, this situation that we're finding ourselves in today is all led from one discovery. The discovery of several individuals to let them know that the 13th Legion has been lost. Nobody else thought it was lost, but they held to the truth that it was lost, and they pushed through and discovered a conspiracy that was covering up the fact that it was lost. And they figured out it was lost because it was trying to uncover a conspiracy itself and trying to destroy the cult of the Hag Mother that was infiltrating Zaranthrul society, and so the 13th Legion was sent south 30 years earlier to destroy the home base and the stronghold of the Hag Mother in the verdant wastes far to the south. Of course, it disappeared. The cult of the Hag Mother didn't want to be found, and so they erased all evidence of it, but not quite enough. For these surviving members, Drim, Hank, Dot Point, and Fine RB Tootwright did some digging, and they found the conspiracy to wipe the memory of the 13th Legion from the face of the earth. Upon finding it, they found evidence, did battle with the evil Dewey Decimal, a corrupted administrative goblin, and then brought their findings before the great Zarth themselves, and were given control of a cohort of the 15th Legion to go south and find evidence as to what happened to the 13th Legion. They were also charged with the responsibility of bringing back the body of High Marshal Balian Holt, leader of the 13th Legion, dead or alive. To aid in this purpose, they were assigned Duster Snibs, journeyman necromancer, an apprentice to the Skull Lords from afar in the north. And they were to find their body, bring them back to life, and put them on trial for their crimes. Should they be dead? Of course, should they be alive and lollygagging? Then they would simply be asked to account for their actions over the last 30 years. This party went across the vast steppes of Zaranthrul, through the steplands, found a tribe of lost jackalope riders who turned out to be descended from Pel-D-Drod the Third, the sacred standard sacred standard banner bearer of the 13th Legion, who in fact, when they found Pel-D-Drod, still possessed the sacred banner and had the wild blood of the jackalopes running through their veins. They convinced Pel-D-Drod III that going through to the verdant wastes to find the 13th Legion was a good idea, because Pel-D-Drod did not think it was a good idea, because Pel-D-Drod had been to the verdant wastes and been almost in the clutches of the cultists of the Hag Mother, and almost died there. And because of the horrors that Pel-D-Drod had seen, they populated the plains with wild jackalopes and prevented all from coming and going. However, with the conviction of this new group of conspiracy theorists, administrators, and petty nobles, they were able to convince Pel-D-Drod to help them in their quest to find what remains of the 13th Legion, gain proof, and set to rights the atrocities of the cult of the Hag Mother. To this end, they were assigned the good work of Nell E. Prod, descendant of Pel-D-Drod III, who is very familiar with the verdant wastes, knows of its dangers, and has been fighting the cultists of the Hag Mother in person for the last 10 years of their life. All they know is war, conflict, and the blood of the wild jackalope that flows through their veins. with their newfound compatriots, they went forth. But now they hang, swinging in wicker cages, in an environment smelling dense of the dank loam and festering swamps of the verdant wastes. They stare out through wicker cages covered in mold, dripping in poison, to a seething floor beneath them. A boiling pot in the corner exudes foul ichor and fumes into the environment, while glowing rooms emblazoned upon the bodies of helper goblins glow faintly in the distance. What led them to this, as they sit withering in these cages? And what do they look like now? Please, physical descriptions. I would like to welcome Duster Snibs, as played by Lee.
Hello. Duster Snibs is small and looking especially small in the corner of this cage. She is wearing the official uniform of a journeyman necromancer and is hovering ominously slightly above the ground, sitting in a dejected position alongside her pet Skrull, who got her into this mess.
So, fine Arby to right.
Fine Arby is looking less and less fine. A tall, good-looking goblin. Their diet has been a lot less rich as what they're used to, so Fine Arby is getting a little bit gaunt, but it just brings out the extra cheekbones next to their nose. Tall, proud, going through life like everybody they meet is some form of employee or underling, and is looking sorry for themselves, sitting in this wicker cage.
And then, of course, in the shadows of the shadows, we have Drim Hank, as played by Ruan.
I am hunched over, feeling very forlorn right now with my dark overcoat and my book, which they couldn't get away from me, and my holographic glasses, looking out surreptitiously, trying to find a way out of this stupid wicker cage. But the aromas in there are overwhelmingly stinky, but there's still quite the undertone of my own stench, so I feel grateful that I've still got that to connect to and feel safe with.
And Matley as Dot Point.
Dot Point is an administrative goblin, and as such wears the clothes that mark their station. The clothes are somewhat in tatters, but in spite of the well-dressed-down buckles and bows, there is also a very impressive wig, which is slightly more tattered, but much more impressive than it was before, to represent the increase in rank and station they have achieved since their last adventure. They are trying to keep track of everything in their environment in spite of the odds.
Desperately trying to make records where they can. And finally, please welcome Valerie for the first time, playing Nell E. Prod. Physical description, please.
Hello. Nellie Prod is small for a goblin, buff for a goblin, has big, alert eyes peeking out from underneath a jackalope skull headdress, usually looking like a cat that's about to pounce, vibrating with excitement, probably nibbling at the bars on the cages, a bit on the grubby side, wears a lot of things with buttons on it, loves buttons, handmade pouches, buttoned, some buttons don't have a function, various adornments.
The most important part of the outfit is the button belt, made of large, oversized novelty buttons. But are they really novel? And how novel is your situation now, trapped in these cages? And how did you come to this? You were so full of enthusiasm. You had found the new friends. The aid of the jackalope riders led you to the verdant waste, started guiding you through the verdant waste. A whole cohort of over 300 soldiers and associated personnel, a large rolling battle altar to help you make your way through the swamps. How could it possibly go wrong? Day by day, you moved through, things in the environment slowly leering out at you. To start with, it wasn't so much of a problem, but one by one, your fellows were struck down by illness or environmental situations, swallowed by a lumpy mudfish, taken up by a dangleberry, eaten alive by oversized flying leeches, larger than usual even. And then worse, the acts of the swamp goblins, laying traps and working in gangs to grab and take you away from the rest. The mists are deceiving. The trees, they move. They're out there, everything trying to get you. But nonetheless, for 2 weeks, you pushed deep into the swamps, leading the trail as led by Nell E. Prod and their associates. And eventually you found the resting place of the 13th Legion. There, you uncovered the bodies and the remnants of those who had been taken away or destroyed by brutal traps or in battle. Sifting through, Duster Snibs called out to the deceased souls of those present, eventually locating the corpse of valiant Hult, who you have been seeking this whole time. In spite of the many years deceased, their soul held to the body, and so you were able to extract them from the swamps, bundling up their body into a little backpack which you now carry with you, Duster Snibs. Achieving your goal, you knew you were not long for this world should you stay in the swamps, so you moved as quickly as possible to leave the environment, knowing that you alone, even with the cohort that you had diminishing in number, could not deal with the threat that lay deep in the swamps. But your escape was not to be. How did you end up in these cages? What eventually picked you off from the group and led you to be trapped here? Duster Snibs.
My pet skull got tired, and so I found a nice patch of moss that looked very comfortable, and we sat down for a rest and let our guard down, and the next thing I knew, we were being carried off by swamp goblins.
Terrible state of affairs. Those comfortable tufts will get you every time. Fine Arby too, right?
Fine Arby was humming with worry and stress and figured that obviously they had too much bloods in their body and needed to be balanced. So when the next call of leeches being sighted was yelled, he, forgetting their larger than unusual size, threw open the top hatch of the war altar, strode up to the top, arms spread, and was immediately enveloped and drained within an inch of their life.
And of course, weakened, you were taken away by a gaggle of underripe goblins, and never to be heard from again. Drim Hank.
Drumhank decided that the best place to be able to sneak around in this swamp was to actually get into the swamping waters, and also a little bit of mud could potentially help Drumhank create some more spawn and little spies to assist in the escape. But unfortunately, there are other things in this swamp, namely lumpy mudfish. And while I was skulking around, suddenly I was caught in the mouth of a lumpy mudfish, and that's the last I recall of the incident until I woke up in this silly cage.
Dot Point.
Dot Point was wandering through the swamps one particularly misty morning, attempting to document all of the missing rocks from the Great Wall. And they wandered a little bit too far afield and realized they could no longer see their fellows. And as much as they looked, they could not find them. And so were never found again.
Of course. Just disappeared in the mists that swirl and obfuscate all. Nellie Prod.
So, it is a little known fact that the digestive juices of dangleberries have a potent stimulant quality, which make you ferocious and terrifying in battle. because very few people have escaped being eaten by a dangleberry. However, if you first imbibe the hog's bottom mushroom, then your sweat develops a taste that is repulsive to the dangleberries. So Nellie Prod had the brilliant plan of eating the hog's bottom mushroom, getting eaten by the dangleberries, and it went brilliantly. But of course, he forgot that a side effect of the hog's bottom mushroom is that you start to hallucinate, and then the hallucinations kicked in at some point, presumably. But the plan worked, so it was a success.
A success? A success, but now, it seems so far away, so distant, as you were all dragged to your various places, dragged by swamp goblins, aquatic goblins. You remember bits and pieces, glimpses of mist, the sensation of being taken across the water, hauled up by ropes and pulleys, dragged through some kind of bowels of a giant tree. But it was all here and there, bits and pieces. Everything just blends into a haze in this environment. You've been living in this haze for weeks, months, you're not sure. Like the world you left behind, perhaps you are now forgotten in this place, this giant-sized house with a giant-sized stove and a giant-sized pot being attended to by smaller goblins who walk on stilts to get across a floor that seethes with life. Occasionally, strips of flesh will fall from their cooking endeavors to the ground, only to be devoured by thousands of teeth, the insects and other creatures that exist on the floor, rising up giant-sized benches, shelves containing jars, pots, clay vessels, other cooking utensils, herbs and fungus hanging from all sides, the thickly padded underside of a thatched roof, dense with mold and growths. Small windows set about you provide a limited amount of ventilation from the heady stench of the environment you find yourself in. From the shadows of your scrambled memory, you see the door occasionally open, and a large figure dressed in tatty rags, through which is embroidered small young goblins, the bones of almost anything, large yellow eyes occasionally roll over the shelves, grotesque pitted skin, the signs of age, or perhaps a cultivated, terrifying appearance of a creature you have come to know as Illard, the Wicked. Justice Nibs, it was you who first started to get a sense of your environment, because unlike everyone else for whom this is a reasonably quiet, creaking cell, the only company for which is each other, and all of you too stupefied by some intoxicants in the environment to find out why. But for you, it was a screaming cacophony of souls, all alive, crying out for help, remorse, whimpering, chatting, talking away, everything that was dead in the environment, talking day in, day out, keeping you from sleeping. It was this that kept you up. And through it all, eventually one voice came to the fore. The voice of a long-deceased assistant of Illard the Wicked. You know this because they told you. And the first thing they explained to you was that you can't eat anything that's given. You can't chew on the wicker or the ropes of the cage, for she drapes a poison into them that keeps you intoxicated. You can only eat the fungus that grows on the ropes, the black fungus. And so you did. Even in your stupor, you started to pull the sense together to eat the fungus. And it brought you to your senses. You identified your environment, your other friends, and you slowly started to show them what for. You nursed them slowly. And you've all eventually come back to your senses. You look around, there are various other fellows in these cages, from your legion, other goblins, a few soldiers, a few followers, but most of them are in no good state. And so you look around, surveying your environment, until finally, your silence is broken, your awareness is broken, you're about to talk and look at each other, and then the door opens again, and the giantess enters. She moves over to the large bubbling pot where goblins stir and prod its contents. She moves across the room, glazing over the various jars and vessels. Her presence removes any sense of, well, you're immediately and primordially petrified with a sense of fear to be in her environment. It's something that she exudes. In spite of the toxins that she had been feeding you, her presence alone paralyzes you. You realize that she is something to be feared as her giant yellow eyes glaze across the wicker cages. She reaches in with long, needle-like fingers, poking and prodding at Fine Arby, at Dot Point, at some of the other fellows, and then two needle-like fingers reach in and pick out one of the goblins. One of your fellows. They whimper as best they can, and pulls them away, takes them out, and drops them in the cauldron, where they are quickly pushed down by the attendants, down into the brew. She smells it, checks the aroma, its consistency, its flavor, and then once more leaves the room and leaves you with the creaking sounds in your environment. You all breathe a sigh of relief as your senses return to you. And your new companion, Old Shah Chump, previous assistant to the Wicked, breathes a sigh of relief and turns to you. Duster sniffs. Is like, oh, goodness. I was close. I thought one of my new friends would have been taken away. You know, I might be dead, but it's still not safe for me. She does feed on the souls as well, you know.
Can you be cooked again?
I mean, my body can be. No souls without a body can leave this place. If I help you, perhaps tell you how you might be able to leave, you would take me with you?
I would have to give you a body. I think I could do that.
I would greatly appreciate it. Anything would be fine.
How does a swamp goblin sound?
I mean, I was a swamp goblin once. I guess I could be again.
We'll have to take one out on our way out.
Very well.
So how do we get out of here?
Well, the floor is a dangerous place.
Yes, I can see that.
She looks, kind of glances up the ropes and says, I guess extracting yourself from... Look, I'm not exactly sure how to get out of this room. I would probably go for the windows. Maybe if you can find some stilts. And she points to, or she indicates, look, you see on the floor? Those stirrer goblins, they wear stilts. So when they cross the floor, the creatures don't eat them. I've seen some insects in my time here crawling in and out through the thatched roof. And it is possible to leap through the windows, so long as you leave unnoticed. I could tell you how to disguise yourself. You know, we're at the top of a very large tree here. A very large tree indeed. A whole city exists inside of it. It's a tree that exists above a lake in the swamp. But you would have to move through the civilization that lives in that tree in order to escape. And then, of course, across the river by boat, I imagine would be best. A lot of those aquatic goblins, they live beneath the water, so they'd probably see you if you were under the water. And then, of course, through the wastes. But if you travel as a small group and quickly and quietly, I think you have a chance.
So step one is to steal some stilts.
Well, or you could have, and or any there could be any number of ways. It's not escape is not my expertise, but I'll guide you.
Yes, yes.
Do you still have your blow dart on you?
I'm fairly certain it was buried well and truly in my pockets. Nothing could possibly be taken out of. And I open up my coat, and you can see me fishing around, and it's like a bottomless pit of pockets. You can't even tell when one pocket starts and the other pocket ends. And I pull out my blow dart.
Excellent.
In fact, Nelly Prod.
If we swing the cages back and forth like a pendulum, are the ropes we're suspended on long enough such that we can reach the windows?
You would believe that they would be suspended long enough for you to jump from a cage to a window. The cage.
And can we touch the wicker, just not eat it? Can we break it?
That's correct, yes. If you would like to try breaking it, you're welcome to do that. Of course, the trick is to do it without being noticed, because should the attendant goblins in here notice, says your new friend, then they would certainly do something about it and raise the alarm. That's old Sha Chong.
How many attendants are we dealing with?
Between 2 and 7 at any one time.
Could we subtly remove some of the bars with a blade
Absolutely.
and try to build them into a ladder or stilts?
You certainly could. You are good at handicrafts. Is this something you'd like to endeavor?
Yes. So if everyone uses whatever weapons they have, I can attempt to build us stilts using the wicker cage. Just don't eat it. Don't gnaw it.
This is a clever idea. Do you know, I think I could potentially provide a distraction. And when one of these goblins comes over, I could maybe use my blow dart and steal some stilts as well.
Then we could all have stilts.
Can we kill the goblin?
I don't see why not. I mean,
I need a body.
But don't let them fall to the ground, though, if we want the body.
Yes, all right. So I am going to start murmuring under my breath to start off with, and then slowly getting louder, and, you know, it's all, this place, I knew this place existed, and you goblins, you've been put under the spell of this giant beast, and this is ridiculous that you have been caught here. Don't you want to be free? Don't you want to be able to see the world outside? This place is too caught up for you. I'm going to try to lure.
Please make a charisma roll for me.
Let's see. Oh, that's 9.
Look, there are, out of the, say, 5 that are in the room at the moment, 2 of them sort of come over on their stilts and like crossing their arms and looking up, and they're like talking amongst each other and like pointing and looking. And they're like, oh, that seems to be a little more active than usual. Perhaps they need more sedatives.
Not sedatives? No, don't give me any sedatives. I'm here. I need to tell you about...
They definitely need sedatives. Yes, all right. Get them the sedatives. Grab the blow dart. No, just get the long prod. And they go over and they get, as you see, these long sticks that are just leaning on the side of the room. And they sort of grab the long sticks that are about like 30 feet long, and they sort of dip one in together. They're sort of working to sort of put the ends of a poisoned fruit on the tip of the spear, and then they're sort of starting to come in. While they're doing that, is there anything anyone else would like to do?
Well, I would like to assert myself and give them a withering stare to stop them from coming any closer. Fix them to the spot.
All right, they're like, right, they come towards you. So make an attack roll, please.
Oh, nope. That's a 4.
They don't seem to notice, and they say, whoa. It is rather...
I would like to cut through some of the bars on the cage.
Yeah, of course. I'm assuming that's something you've been working on for a little while?
Yep.
Right.
And use this opportunity to remove them and try to get enough to fashion into stilts.
All right, you gather together materials you require to sort of gather some stilts with some hacking. Do they notice? Not quite. They are distracted. somewhat. Fine Arby, is there anything you'd like to try while these people are slightly distracted? Goblins are slightly distracted, getting a long prod stick with some poison on it to try and get Drim Hank.
Binabi starts to get a little bit belligerent. Long stick with fruit on the end, and it's not coming over here? That had better be the breakfast that I was promised. I'm going to start swinging the cage back and forward and grabbing a hand out of the bars, while Petunia works to try and nuzzle some of the hatchwork wicker open enough to squeeze their high-performance skinny body
Look,
out.
they're very light. I don't think they
would
would ever have any problems moving through these bars. They're reasonably sparse. But give me a strength roll just to see how effective you are at moving this cage.
That would be a 16.
All right, cool. The cage is swinging, and these guys have now sort of pulled the fruit off. Duster Snibs, is there anything you'd like to do?
I would like to slip out through the hole that has been created in the cage and drop down to just a few inches above the stuff on the floor.
Of course. This is like, you just like, whoop, boom. Give me a stealth roll, give me a dexterity roll at advantage to be unnoticed in your descent.
I'm going to keep up my rant. No, you don't even know are you even getting paid enough? You should unionize.
Another charisma roll, please, Drim Hank.
12.
All right, excellent. Yeah, look, they you drop unnoticed to the floor with all of this distraction going on. You're hovering about 12 inches. Whew. Little creatures like shh. You feel like little antennas tickling your feet.
15 for charisma.
Okay, look. So what's happened is the two guys who have like put the fruit on the end of the stick have now come over. It takes two goblins at a time to sort of wield this giant stick, and they're trying to poke at you, but Fine Arby's like swinging the cage around, so they're trying to like, damn it!
I'm using
They're
my
so active!
coat
There's a rash here, we gotta get them all going on!
as a bit of armor.
Get up and in there! And they're sort of poking away, trying to do this thing.
Yep. I'm going to use my coat as a bit of armor, and also then when they get close enough, going to blow dart out at one of them.
Okay, you'll save that for next time.
Yes.
So the rest of them, however, due to your new ranting enthusiasm, are now distracted and see the magnitude of the situation and that they really got to get it under control. And so they go over and they grab each of them these big hooks to try and hook the cage and hold it steady so that the other ones can poke in with the stick and sedate you more efficiently. Try and stop the swinging. So they're now all fully engaged and distracted. Dot point.
I would like to look around the room to see if there are any jars and see if I can read the labels, read any of these sigils, and as such try and discern what might be in the bottles that are around the room.
The labels. Yes, of course, you absolutely do. You got a transcription codex from the first game, giving you an idea of the sigils, so you can understand the writing on the various bottles. Please make an intelligence roll for me.
Whoop, and that's a 21. Pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. So, all manner of jars, and these are giant-sized jars for the most part, used by Illa the Wicked themselves, who was a giantess. All the great hags of old were giants. Or maybe these goblins are just tiny. Who knows? Anyway, you can see various labels. There's a fire wine, big jar and glass. There's bitey grubs. There's some green smoke. You're not sure what that is, but it seems to be this dense, swirling, gaseous liquid. Those are the three ones that really jump out at you.
Interesting.
All right. Nelly Prod, you have the equipment required to fashion some stilts, and there is a gap in the cage. Your compatriot Duster Snibs is dropped to the ground and is stealthily and unnoticed making their way somewhere.
But Duster Snibs can hover.
That's correct.
Okay. Can I make the stilts quickly?
Yeah, just give me a handicrafts roll. That's
Okay.
dexterity at advantage because you are good at handicrafts.
I rolled well on the first roll. So,
Okay, excellent.
that's a 20, not natural.
Excellent. So you have fashioned yourself, in fact, a set of stilts. You believe that they will work and work well with your environment, but you are still hovering about 20 feet above the ground.
And how long are the stilts?
How long are the stilts?
5 feet.
Okay, good on.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get down somehow. I am good at jumping.
This is
jumping
true.
on stilts sounds painful.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to tie the stilts to my back and try to jump from the opening in my cage to the wall.
Okay, excellent. And the
So that I
cage
can then-
is swinging. Arby, are you keeping up the swing? All right.
Yes, we are swinging
So with
hard.
every swing, you're getting closer and closer to the wall, and that counts as a help action for your jump. I mean, you're good at jumping anyway, so you'll be able to just leap over to the wall. Your next point, you'll be able to get +2 and advantage. Dustus Nibs, what are you doing?
So all of the assistant goblins have gone to try to stabilize the cage.
They're all
correct?
trying this chaotic situation that's being created. There are this huge distraction. Everyone's incredibly distracted, and the shadowy necromancer with a pet skull, and so you have the remains of. So I'm going to say that you are carrying the remains of the High Marshal and a small backpack.
That's the body.
Additionally, you have the component of your newfound friend, which is in, I'm not sure, what are they attached to?
Sorry.
What part of their body or item is their soul attached to? This is your...
This is the dead assistant.
Yes. Shah, yeah. Shah Thump.
I think it's a knuckle.
Ah, a knuckle bone. Of
Yes.
course.
So I would like to try to. There's a lot of dead things in this soup, right?
There's a lot of... But the problem is that the souls are being... In the soup, that's like a soul cauldron where all the souls are being melted to create this brew. And you're not sure what it's doing or what's inside of it. But yeah, they're being added and they're being consumed into it or by something in it, and you're not sure.
Okay, so it's not so animatable. It's kind of got
No.
its own thing going on.
No,
Okay.
no. Not only that, but the cauldron itself seems to have magical protection.
Okay. In that case, I am going to find the slowest, smallest, stragglerest goblin assistant
Yep.
and sneak up behind it and zap it.
Okay. You're going to like touch it, zap it, so you don't have the arcs of purple energy running out of your hand. You're going to like go right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for the distraction. Just make a touch attack at advantage. So, to hit roll.
8.
Right. Do they notice you? No. It's like, they're like, you go to touch them, they're like, it's like, move out of the way. All right, so they're now trying to get wrestle control of this cage. The hookers, one of the hooks sort of like goes on, so they're starting to get it back in order, but it's not both of them, and they're fighting against your strength and the weight of you all swinging around. One of them, who does hook on, they're very good at their job. They managed to stay on their stilts, even though they're trying to wrangle the thing. Drimhank.
I am going to be using my coat to kind of stop them from being able to touch me with their pointy sticks of poison fruit. And then one of them gets nice and close, I'm going to hit them with my blow dart. And once they get drowsy, I'm going to jump onto them.
Okay. Well, these are much smaller creatures than the last time you were trying to blow dart, the wild, weird jackalope.
Yeah, that's 13.
That does, in fact, just hit this goblin.
Whew.
And they fail their Constitution saving throw.
Yay!
And you can see them go sleepy and fall.
Oh no, I'm going to jump!
Okay. So what's your cloak doing?
My cloak was being a barrier to start off with. And then
Okay.
I wanted to get this goblin drowsy enough that he wouldn't fight me off. So then I can then jump onto him and kind of like use him as my stilt puppet master.
Puppet?
But yeah, so that's
Okay,
that's
so
my
you're
goal.
going to jump on him?
Yeah.
Excellent, yep. Well, they're about to fall, so make a dexterity roll for me.
I have twinkle toes, so I feel like this
You do have twinkle toes. I feel like you can get advantage on this roll.
Yeah, that's a 19.
All right, excellent. So you jump out, cloak first, jumping on top of him, and I need a second dexterity roll to try and control him.
I could get him inside my coat. It's like a two-person dance.
Yes, it is like a two-person dance.
Shall I take the 3 or the 1?
Look, you're staggering left, you're staggering right. It looks like you're going to fall. That doesn't mean that other people don't have an opportunity to do something about it, because you did pass that first roll with reasonable success. Dot point.
So I would like to look around, try and find a rock or some heavy object that I can hurl at this bottle of fire wine that's on the shelf. See if I can crack it open. Can I find something?
Okay, you find a large rock-sized object and give it a good hurl. Dexterity roll, please, or just an attack roll is fine.
Okay, that's 17 on the dice.
Yep, and now just roll 1d6 and let's see how much damage you can do.
Yep. Only 5 total.
Okay, so a crack, tink, and a crack opens, and you guys see this little fissure of steam, just a couple of licks of flame just coming out the side of the bottle. But it seems like you'd need to apply a little bit more pressure. Nelly Prod, you have fastened your stilts onto your body. You're ready to go. It swings, gets you over to the window. Excellent. Dexterity at advantage, and you can add +2 to your roll because you're being helped, and you're excellent at jumping.
Oh, okay. I will take the 14.
Okay, cool. You're close. You leap across. Grab onto the windowsill. Your claws digging in. You sort of look back. The other goblins seem to be quite distracted and haven't noticed that you jumped across because it was on the backswing. And from here, would you like to make any additional actions?
Yes, I would like to plant a magic bean in a very specific location. So just above the mush on the floor so that it can't reach it.
Okay.
But into the wall leading up to the window.
Okay, nice. So you just drop it to the ground, or are you putting it on the windowsill?
Can I try to plant it, take it in my toes and plant it with my foot into the spot I want? Okay,
give me a dexterity roll.
Yep.
You'll have to crawl down because the window is also 20 feet above the ground.
Oh, that's on the side. That's an 8.
All right, cool. So you reach down and try and do it. Unfortunately, you take 3 points of damage as insects start crawling up your toes and biting into your leg. But you're like, ow, kick them off and go back. Fine Arby Toot right.
Fine Arby is they've hooked onto the cage now.
One of them has, but they're struggling to keep control as their strength is not as impressive as yours.
That is exactly what I was hoping. I'm going to grab the end of the hook and pull it in so that the person starts pulling it towards them, and then I'm going to go bonk.
Give me a contested strength roll, thank you.
Bump them in the face. That would be a 20.
They are tough. They hold on. They are strong. But you, my friend, are stronger. And you almost lift them up the ground, and you've got it pulling, and they're pulling back really hard. Then you're just like, ha, donk. And they stagger, stumble, and fall backwards. Ah! There's a wave. Tiny teeth start shredding the flesh from their bones. Dustus Nips.
So now there's a bunch of dead goblins, right?
So one of them is having the flesh being stripped from their bones on the ground, and they're still just sort of lying, just cluttered to the ground. Another one is Drimhank is being ridden by Drimhank, but you see Drimhank and that one falling to the floor in mid-fall, about to sort of hit that floor. And who knows what will happen at that point. Dot Point appears to be trying to do something to a bottle that you now realize is potentially incredibly volatile. Who would have thought the power of reading could be so dangerous?
Is it possible to get my new friend to possess the imminently dead goblin that Drimhank is riding?
Look, they're not fully deceased. There's no guarantee the soul's going to immediately evacuate the body.
All right. In that case, there has to be a lot of dead bugs in here, right?
There's a lot of dead bugs. Yeah, there's bodies. Most of the things that are on the floor have been reconstituted, though. Now, you do have... actually, no, you don't have... Everything else that you have on you has...
That's exactly what I'm thinking, is a giant bug golem.
True. All right, so you want to try and make some... that doesn't mean sticking your hand into, like... It's like, think of it like a forest floor, where there are various layers of desiccated and deceased bugs underneath layers of live and seething bugs. So you would have to be reaching in to grab at these things to make the materials that you require to make a undead golem. It's a handicraft activity, not a telekinetic activity.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
It's okay. I will make this sacrifice to try to make my bug golem.
Dexterity roll, please.
17.
You got quick fingers, Duster. Yeah, you very carefully pick your moments and pull out several small bugs and start assembling this beetle. Meanwhile, one of the goblins, the goblin who's up there with the hook, is like looking around and sees you, Duster Snibs, and also sees Drimhank, but and also is seeing the first one with a decent amount of perception. So the three remaining goblins are now aware of what's happening in the environment. Two of them are wrangling this prod. They immediately drop it and pull out sort of smaller sidearms. One of them runs across the floor, looking over at Drimhank and the friend, and just goes, "They're gone. Just leave them be." It's too late to save them now. But sees Nelly Prod like across the floor coming down the wall and runs over with a spiked pole with a hook on it and attempts to strike at you, but misses. And then the other one, Duster Snibs, like turns around and sees you with the flesh golem and just sort of swings at you, but you're sort of like, whoo, duck down, head going between your shoulders, and you swing at it. The third one appears to be running over to a bell that you've seen rung before to gain the attention of others in the environment. And Duster Snibs, your newfound friend, Old Shah Chomp, the Knucklebone, is like, "No! All will be lost if they ring that bell." So, Drimhank, it's up to you.
Oh, I am still trying to not fall onto the floor because that would be very dangerous.
All right. Well, apparently nobody came along to stop you from falling on the floor. So the goblin that you were riding and had thrown your cloak over hits the floor. You have positioned yourself on top of them. Yay! I need another dexterity roll from you.
Yeah, 18. I'm surfing on him.
Oh my god, yes. So you're like feeling the goblin's like, "Ah!" As bugs start coming up, but they've got the cloak on top of them, so they're completely concealed, and the bugs just riding through them. But it is creating this moving mass, and you are managing to control its trajectory and its movement on the floor.
Excellent. Yes.
Where are you trying to direct this? Also knowing that your time is limited.
I need to stop these goblins. I need to get off the floor, basically. So where is going to be my best option?
There are ramparts around the pot, and there is furniture and shelves.
Excellent.
That come up from the floor.
Excellent. So the closest higher piece of furniture, because I don't think I want to get close to the pot.
All right. So you manage to steer over to the goblin,
yep,
and you get closer to them, intercepting their path to the bell, and then what do you do?
I'm going to... I could probably hit them with my blowpipe as well. At least one of them. Oh, actually, I'm just going to grab him and chuck him down to the ground.
This is up on stilts.
Oh,
all right. So
well,
give an attack roll, please.
I could just take a stilt out from underneath him.
Absolutely could do that. Give me an attack roll.
Oh, yeah. That's to hit, so it'll be 23.
Yeah, just to hit. Excellent. All right, you just grab as you surf past. You're like, woo! He's like, ah! And his legs, he's doing an involuntary split as he goes woo! Down, boom, his crotch hits the ground. So he sinks into the floor, being consumed by the bugs. Dot point.
I would like to make another attempt at this bottle. Can I find another rock?
All right. Yeah.
All right, and that is a 5.
Oof.
It sort of just bounces off the curve of the jar, rattles around and hits the ground with a small flame just licking out the side of the bottle. A little dripple is coming down. Down, down, down. It's catching various things on fire. A bit of the shelf on fire, but very slowly. Nelly Prot. You are just above the ground. You're trying to plant the seed in the ground with your foot. You're just hanging on, looking back, surveying the scene.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to plant it again, but like higher up, just into the wall.
The wall, so it shoots straight out. Yeah, all right, go for it.
Oh no, I was hoping still upwards, but just so that I don't have to touch the ground.
Okay, cool. So you plant it in a way that'll shoot it out and up.
Yeah, so that we have a lattice to climb up.
Yeah.
And just to the side of the window so it doesn't
obscure the window.
block up the window.
Cool.
And if I can do another thing, there's a goblin coming at me with a hook, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so do I need to roll anything to plant the bean?
No, I'll give you that as a bonus action because you already had it prepared. So what would you like to do with your action?
Awesome. So the bean is planted. I would like to get on the floor and try to wrestle the hook from the goblin.
Okay, the floor is covered with seething insects. Oh, you have the stilts?
Oh, on my stilts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you jump onto the ground, facing the stilts. Behind you, as you sort of leap to the ground, the sprout starts just racing up the side of the wall to the roof, past the window. So it is, in fact, forming a lattice ladder that goes up there. You'll be able to climb that to get out the window and starts interweaving itself through the roof. The nutrients on the wall are astounding. This thing's growing quicker than you've ever seen it grow before.
Awesome.
And you stand and face off against the goblin with a hook. Ah! They say, make an attack roll.
Oh, that's a 16.
Absolutely hits. Roll for damage. What are you doing? Are you doing your headbutt to try and knock them down, or are you going to attack them with something else?
I think I'll attack them with the prod poke.
All right, awesome.
That is a D10 plus 2.
Yep.
Let's roll that. Oh, that's an 11.
Nice. All right, it's a prod. It's so like staggers back on the stilts. It's stilt on stilt action here. He comes back. It's not down yet. Then once you starts running at you with his prod, ready to poke you. This particular pokey pole with hook. Fine, Arbitute, right? What are you doing? You've been swinging the cage. It looks like it's just you and Dot Point in the cage at this point, and all of the goblins that were previously trying to wrestle control of the cage are now distracted by the others on the floor.
Fantastic. I'm going to reel the hook that I'd bopped the goblin on the face with. I'm going to pull it into the cage, up to the edge of the cage, turn it around and try and hook the table and drag us more towards that one, creating an easy way down onto a safer surface.
Yep. Give me a strength roll. You have advantage because there's only 2 of you in the cage, and you are very good at athletics.
That would be a 20.
You easily drag it over, and now your cage is hovering above the table, and it's only like a 10-foot drop down to said table.
Dot, go, 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 go!
Dot, all you've been doing is throwing rocks. I'm happy for you to take a free movement action at this point.
Well, I will certainly take advantage of the opportunity to shimmy down the rope.
Give me a dex roll, thank you.
Okay. That is a 6. Not so good.
Thump! You take 4 points of damage as you land clean on your nose. Dustus Nibs, what are you doing?
So I have a reasonably sizable bug golem at this point.
It's about the size of a ball. It's got like little legs. Because they're all small bugs, it's and describe how you're doing it, Teal. You've got like enough bugs to sort of do something about this big.
Yep. So it basically looks like a little ball with feet and hands and one eye in the middle of its head. And I'm going to take my knuckle bone and just push it right into where the eye is to give my new friend a new body made of bugs.
Shah's like, wiggles. Oh my goodness, you can't understand how freeing this is. I can finally move. And just immediately is wiggling around, but maybe don't put me on the floor. I'll just stay here. It crawls up onto your shoulder.
Okay.
Now, that door is going to be very difficult to open without help. So, and also, you'll have to be standing on the floor. So, I don't know if there's a better way out.
We're going to go for the window.
All right, excellent. The remaining, so we've had one goblin descend, one goblin being surfed, one goblin being punched in the face and pushed to the ground, one goblin in brutal combat with Nell Eprod, and one who is still swinging at Duster Snibs. I'm really busy right now making this golem.
Very focused.
You are, in fact, very, very focused as they swing at you again with another 4. They're very, very limited. They're finding it difficult to manage with the stilts, and of course, you are incredibly dexterous and just floating around. It's like just woo, 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 shoo, shoo, ah! And then, of course, Drim Hank, you have just leapt. You've got to leap off this thing now.
Yeah.
You're going towards a shelf, and on your way over to the shelf, you pulled the stilt out from underneath this guy.
Yep.
And were you going to jump onto the shelf?
Yeah. I think I need to get off onto the shelf.
Okay, cool. Just give me a dex roll.
That would be an 8.
Okay, going to invoke your twinkle toes.
Oh, absolutely. And I also like to stay alive. Oh, that's much better. 18.
Okay, like it's a bare slip. You managed to make it away with your trench coat and sanity intact as the last of the goblin you were surfing just disappears, and there are just bones and refuse left behind strubbled around the floor.
I'm going to dust the bugs off my coat and put it back on again.
Excellent. All right. Every now and again for the rest of the game, you might like put your hand in a pocket and go. Dot point. You have dropped down, you pick yourself up and look around the room.
All right, so now that I'm up, can I possibly use this end of the pole to help Fine Arby get down from his position?
Look, Fine Arby would probably have to fasten the pole at their end and then scoop down because he's got the hook hooked on your end. But you could still hold it, and that would help.
You could also be the
All right,
soft cushioned landing if you'd allow him to land on you.
Well, in that case, I might give a withering stare to the other goblin that's trying to
All right, excellent.
hook onto the cage from the other side and control it.
Excellent. Well, it kind of looks up. It feels this burning sensation in the back of its neck and like looks up and sees you and takes a few steps back and is distracted. Do roll for damage when you get the opportunity.
Okay, and that's a 6.
Yeah, they stagger back. They know they haven't been keeping a track of their accounting anytime recently. They know.
They need to unionize. Haven't paid their taxes for years.
Nell Eprod. This goblin is still facing off against you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do another hit on them.
Okay. Did you want to? So you can either you can do just the regular prod and prod or poke, prod or axe, poke or axe, and then additionally you can headbutt them if you charge them if you want to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to charge them.
Okay.
I go for the axe and then headbutt.
All right, nice. So a quick swing of the axe and then a headbutt.
Mm-hmm. 1 attack roll or 2?
2, 1 for each.
1 and 2. Oh, that's a 19 and that's a 23 and a 19.
All right, smack. Look, they both hit. One quick cut of the axe comes across, cuts into their, just cuts across their thigh. cutting open a femoral artery, and they say like, "Ah!" Start staggering forwards, and then you follow up, taking a few steps forwards, and bunt them with your horns. They rise a good 2 feet into the air before cycling and coming face first down into the bugs with a splash, and then disappear, slowly sinking beneath the seething mass of tiny creatures.
Nice.
Fine, Arby, there is but one conscious goblin left alive who seems to be rather distracted and stepping cautiously away from dot point while casually engaging with Duster Snibs.
Fantastic. Fine Arby is going to... Petunia! Jump to the nice goblin. As pointing at dot point.
Okay.
And then once Petunia has jumped clear, I'm going to unhook the cage and have it swing back and hook the goblin that is menacing Duster Snibs and hurl them into the pot if I can.
Fair enough. Give me first a dexterity roll. Thank you.
Don't hook the wrong thing.
That would be a...
Plus.
That would be a 6
All right.
for Petunia.
So you go to...
They're all thumbs.
You go to reposition your grip on the pole and then let go of it entirely. Whoa! And now dot point is left holding the pole as you swing back across to the other side of the room in your arc.
We're half good.
Right. It does take you, however, close to the window and that beanstalk that you can see on the other side.
Oh, perfect. Make hay while the sun shines. I'm going to run up and try and jump out of the cage to the beanstalk.
Excellent. Give me a roll at advantage because you are athletically inclined.
That would be a 17
Nice.
for the jump.
Jump takes you there, you leap across, grab onto the top of the beanstalk, and you are right next to the window where the beanstalk is. You look back down and see the melees that is swirling below, or what's left of it. Duster Snibs.
I'm still being menaced by the remaining goblin.
Kind of very casually. They seem more intimidated by dot point at the moment.
I will take this opportunity to zap them. Flamboyantly this time.
Nice.
$23.
Roll your damage.
16.
Oh. Goblin.
It's more
yes,
effective when I'm farther away.
They were they die in shame, being smitten by the withering glare of dot point. They don't even see it coming. It's like some people just wilt away in the face of the horrors of existence, and you have facilitated one more departure.
Can I steal their stilts?
You can, in fact, steal their stilts.
Great. I would like to bring their stilts over to, I think, probably either Dot Point or Drimhank, whichever one is closer to me and needs...
Drimhank is most, yes, either. They both are in need of some kind of stilt action.
Yeah. I'll bring them over to Drimhank.
All right, awesome. Now, of course, the room is clear, but for how long, you are uncertain. The alarm has not been raised, and you are all there. So what is it that you will do with your time?
We will need to get dot point over to this beanstalk, I think.
We can ferry the stilts over twice, because I can, if you use the stilts to go over to the beanstalk, I can then take the stilts back to Dot.
No, it's like one of those puzzles.
Another pair.
Yeah.
You can't stay there, or else you're going to eat a set of stilts. You have to ferry them back, along with a cabbage.
Ideal.
That's the pair from the goblin that I killed.
There is the pair from the goblin that you killed as well.
So I might grab those using my stilts and get them for someone else. And should we try to get other goblins rescued as well? Or is it just us left?
They certainly are, but you're assured by your new friend Shah. Look, don't wait. You have hardly any time here. But before they come, another one will be here shortly, and when they do, they will in fact be alarmed. just conceal as much evidence as possible so they don't know you're departed. The sooner they find out, the sooner the alarm will be raised. You have the cover of nobody knowing you're even gone at this point.
So is it possible to knock over that giant cauldron and potentially onto the floor?
It looks incredibly heavy, and it's on an oversized, like a giant-sized iron stove.
Okay.
Is the floor possibly made of wood?
Underneath the seething sea of bugs, quite possibly. It's all very damp in here. Everything is damp. Even that flame that's like trickling out of the jar finds it hard to make purchase on the shelves. It's only slowly starting to catch fire.
So I think what might be an excellent idea would be to knock over the whole shelf with all of those jars and bottles on them.
That sounds like fun. Let's do it.
We just need to get out of here, man. We just need to get out of here.
Yes, but if we have a distraction to distract from all of us escaping, then that might be really good. And there are all kinds of things on that shelf. So what on that shelf might actually be able to help us?
There was a green smoke, there was a fire, there was some other various things. There was some poisons of some description.
Is there a thing of salt? Like a lot of thing of salt? Because Fine Arby is just going to peg a bunch of it into the cauldron to just ruin that ambience. That flavor is just going to be off.
A little.
There was a whole bunch of poison on the shelves. We could just put that whole jar of poison in the cauldron.
Or the fruit. What if we just put in the fruit that makes you drugged? It would be ironic.
Shah is like, quick, look, there's no time to dally. If you want to do something, sure, do it, but do it now.
Throw everything in.
Okay, one last action before you leave the room. Duster Snibs, what are you doing?
I will climb up the beanstalk to the window and attempt to knock off the nearest jar while I do, whatever it is.
Give me I'll just roll percentile to see what you get. Nice. All right. Yeah, look, the whole place starts to smell deliciously like oregano. Fine Arby Toot right.
Fine Arby Toot right is going to get Petunia up, give her a pat on the head and go, "Oh, you're such a good girl," and then encourage her out the window and climb on out, sans any chucking off the shelf.
You chucking a random thing off the shelf?
Yes, why not?
All right, cool. Excellent. Time. When I say time, I mean essence of time. Various time distortions start happening in the local area. Bugs like grow and diminish and stuff like that. But never. Nelly, Prod, final action before leaving the room.
Is there a poison fruit I can hurl into the cauldron?
Yeah, absolutely. You pass. You have the stilts as you're walking by. There's a large fruit bowl full of poisoned fruit. They seem pretty fresh.
Yep, in the cauldron they go. For the ironic comeuppance.
Okay, as you're throwing out, you like throw behind you like 2 or 3 fruits. Some of them go in, some of them don't. Who knows? And then up the beanstalk and out. Dock Point.
Well, yes, I think I'm going to kill it with fire.
Look, ever since that terrible fire back at the records room, you've been thirsting for revenge. So give it a go. You grab the hook and give it a good hoy. Give me a strength roll. Is anyone helping? Yeah, okay. Nelly, Prod helps.
Okay, so that's a 9. What does a help action do for me?
Gives you an advantage. Help actions give you advantage.
Good. Well, that helped. That's a 15 in total.
Okay. So before we resolve what happens out of that, Drim Hank, what's your final action before leaving the room?
I'm just climbing up this beanstalk and emptying shit out of my pockets. I don't want any more of these bugs biting me.
Ow, bugs! And in the
I've got a lot of pockets to clear.
There's a lot of pockets in there. And as you go, you realize in good order that you should be going because that fire wine hits the ground and spreads all across the floor. Flames are licking out almost immediately, sucking all of the oxygen out of the room. You guys quickly hold your breath to try and avoid any further damage. And find your way out as flames start licking up the sides of the walls and smoke goes out. In particular, the flames are enveloping the wicker cages more than anything else, where you were.
They're in a better place
and
now.
your compatriots lie. Lost and forgotten.
I will give them medals posthumously. They died doing what they loved.
Dying. You crawl out of the small opening in the window, and because of the gnarled nature of the outside of the hut, you find it very easy to climb down the outside, but a vista of canopies awaits you. You realize that you have come out at the top of a tree that is so large that it pierces the regular canopy of the verdant wastes around, and you can see as far as your eyes will let you the dim clouds in the sky, a gentle precipitation falling, making everything slick and wet, but luscious and green, obviously, where the name of this place comes from. Insects buzz about you, and the sounds of life comes from the tree beneath. Huge boughs stretching out, encompassing enough space to hold an entire population, built into little hidey holes through warren-like holes and tunnels that are built through the boughs and the trunk of the tree itself. Little basket-like outcroppings of nests and rooms brought here and there, and then small buildings jut up from the upright surfaces of the tree, also hanging from the vines that straddle all of the boughs of this tree, that hang, making a kind of net around the outside of it. You see various woven abodes that are just built into the vines and the network themselves. See little fires here and there, lights glowing, smell of cooking and smoke intermingles with the dank swamp air. And from your current position climbing down the side, you see two primary options to remove yourself from this level, to which you see people running because the smoke is coming out, so you notice and hear shouts of cries of fire, fire, and they're sort of moving up the tree. You could either move down the bough, of which there is only one that juts up from the top of the tree to support this particular centerpiece of the tree, the house is Gilad the Wicked. Or you could try and climb down some of the vines to that next layer of foliage.
And what is the most sensible route?
The vines. We have to go to the vines.
Are you sure? Really?
This bough is going to be full of the volunteer fire department of the Treeburg. So, let's go, people.
The vines are the safer option.
I'm not the best at climbing.
Climb as though your lives depend upon it, because if you don't climb fast enough, I will kill you.
I'm going to use my twinkle toes to make it a 20.
So you guys look over the edge, and it looks like at least a 300-foot drop to the swamp below, potentially a slightly shorter drop to some of the boughs of the trees, like maybe only 40 to 100 feet to those other ones.
That is rather a long way to fall.
This is particularly a lake on a swamp. Looking from your current position, though, you are more likely to impact with one of the other boughs below you than you are to fall clean into the lake. Unless you consider yourself an expert diver and are able to control your maneuvers. I wouldn't put it past you. It's always worth a try.
Follow me! And I start climbing down some vines.
Excellent. You obviously have advantage due to your athletics.
That is a 20 on the climb.
Anyone who would
so
like
18.
to try can make a roll to try and tempt it. Obviously, if you have anything that's going to help you can add advantage to it.
Yeah, I use my twinkle toes, and I'm
dexterous fingers will help you.
at 20.
I got a 12.
Really, Duster, you can just float down.
18.
Duster cannot float per se. They just hover above the ground. Now, Leapfrog, how did you go?
I would like to transform into the were-jackalope. Do I roll a wisdom for that, or just
no, because it's not time
time
sensitive, so you can just sit there for a little while going,
Awesome. And yes, I also have boundless energy, heightened senses, and I'm good at jumping and running.
Yeah, you
and I
can
rolled
have
an
advantage
18.
and +2. All right, so 18 plus you said 20.
Okay, that's a 20 non-natural. Yeah.
So Nelly Prod actually just jumps down to the bow from where they are.
That's the spirit.
But as you go, thankfully, no one in the environment noticed because they're all paying attention to this fire. But your friend Shah says to you, Duster Stibbs, they're like, oh no, a wild jackalope! That's the most dangerous thing around. It's a dead giveaway. If any of the other goblins see that, they'll know. They'll know that you're an enemy. And you all get down to the next bow. It appears to be sort of like an outward bow. There's like a bunch of like small houses and bits and pieces here and there. Some gentle fires cooking in some of the places. No one seems to have noticed your entry at this point. But this is a bustling community. And it's only a matter of time before you run into someone else.
We need to get disguised.
I'm already disguised. Look at my coat.
It's a very nice coat.
We need more disguise. We need this swirly business going on.
Look, Drimhank is apparently 100% correct. They just meld into their environment at all times. They're nondescript sunglasses and coat.
Who are you talking about?
I need a disguise.
Yes, Fine Arby Toothbright needs a disguise. Dot Point has a signature wig. Duster Snibs has intense frills on their uniform, if you haven't noticed. And Nelly Prod is currently a ravaging wild jackalope, weird jackalope at that.
Perhaps I could get an extremely large hat
Okay.
and a fake mustache.
Could you get a coating of other smaller goblins and place them over you?
Would you like to? There are a lot of supplies in this area. There are lots of things.
Yes.
Like this is like a handicrafts person's heaven because all of the environments, like everything is built out of something, as opposed to Zarin Thrul in the city where everything is used and built into something and protected by iron or bricks. This seems to be a pretty free environment where cloth and mesh and nets and food and other things are just all about the place, drying and, not at risk, and no one's worried about anyone else stealing it. Like it's some kind of amazing anarchic commune where everyone lives in harmony.
Bit heretical.
Stupid hippies.
Unconventional materials challenge. Go!
Fine Arby is diving in with both hands and comes out looking fashionably face-painted, a little bit like
I'll
Adamant.
let you make a charisma roll for your disguise. Thank you. Nelly Prod, please make a handicrafts roll for your disguise.
Yeah, I will transform back to
Okay,
a goblin
excellent.
as well. Yeah.
Or intelligence.
16.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
I will find a large hat also. I am inspired
Excellent.
by your large hat. And not wanting to keep anyone moving at my pace, I will try and disguise myself as best as possible to blend in with the environment. And perhaps some dark glasses to stop me leering at people.
Excellent. Look, you put your hat on top of the wig, not wanting to force everyone else to move at half pace to keep up with your administrative self, but with your careful disguise, you are able to look insignificant. Duster Snibs?
I would like to rummage around through this stuff and craft myself a mask that makes me look more like I belong here, and 2 more small masks, one for my skull and one for my new friend.
Excellent. All right. Suitably disguised, your new friend Shah gives you directions, Dusty. It's like, all right, if we go down this bow, you'll come to a sideway, you'll be able to go through this tree, and they're sort of just directing you as you go. But you will need to make a group stealth test to try and blend into your environment. So everyone, please make a dexterity roll. If you have anything that's going to help you, you can take advantage. If you rolled over 13 on your disguise roll, you can also take advantage.
I got an 8.
7.
I got a 20.
My
18.
disguise is fantastic, but I am not necessarily the most
Are you
swampy-looking person in
strutting
the
in your
world.
disguise?
It's a great looking disguise.
I'm
Nelly Prod,
not
what was yours?
strutting.
Clearly, there are designer embellishments to your attire.
Nell E. Prod, what was your disguise?
Oh, sorry, I had an 18.
Excellent. Duster Snibs?
20.
Oh, excellent.
My
Letting down
masks
the
are
team.
impeccable.
And Dot Point?
I'm coming up trumps with a 9. Yes.
It is true, you are very good. Excellent. All right. Well, look, people don't so much notice your group, but people do stop and stare at fine Arby Tootright. They're like, wow,
So they should.
I never thought about wearing it like that before. That's a good way. Really setting a standard for goblins around here. Swamp goblins, just because we're swamp goblins doesn't mean we need to dress down. We could dress up and really fancy. I mean, as long as you don't look fancy to anyone else. No, but if we all got fancy together, shouldn't we just drag them down so none of them look fancy? And then they're sort of starting to figure this out as you pass. And and then Fine Arby breaks into a run.
I will keep pace with Fine Arby.
They can't have my robes.
Yes.
Your fancy fishnet robes. And do the rest of you try and keep pace, or let Arby just
Oh no.
go where Arby goes?
I was fairly noticeable with my stench. It wasn't really a natural swamp goblin stench. So I need to follow along fairly quickly as well.
No, I could just teach you the contouring.
Damn it, man. Keep your frills in check.
I run along as well.
All right, cool. All right, so you guys you've moved through the bulk of the city, going down through the various establishments, going past campfires, and you're moving at pace now. So people are like picking up. There's like 2 swamp goblins who are chasing after you, but people are like, well, that's their personal opinion, whatever. Maybe like 2 others join them, so it might be a group of 3 or 4. But now you hear a bell. And cries in Dark Tongue start echoing down through the boughs of the tree, giving warning that while the fire has been put out, there might be some people at large in the city. It's at this point you get to the bottom of the tree and you see a harbor area all around as the roots sort of spread out and sink like a mangrove into the lake itself. There are little stairways and ladders to which boats are tethered. A mist settles across the surface of the water. From where you are, as you descend, your passage is becoming more obscured, but you're seeing the boats. And you're seeing that the mist going out into the swamp and the boat going out into the swamp will hopefully aid your escape, so long as your friend Shah can direct you correctly.
Well, I suggest we get one of these boats quickly.
But people are being roused.
What kind of boats are there moored in this environment?
Okay, everybody, go arrange a boat. I will cause a bit of a distraction.
Haven't you already done that?
Well, I will cause a bit of a distraction away from where they're liberating a boat.
All right.
I make haste to liberate a small ship.
All right. You find a small sail ship, and who is jumping in the ship while Fine Arby does the distraction?
I will get in the ship.
Yep. You'll get in the ship. Yep, in the ship. Dot point. All right, everyone except for Fine Arby. So the 4 of you jump in a boat, untether it. An old sort of dockhand sort of turns around and says, hey! And they're like, what are you doing with my boat?
I shoot him a withering glare.
He backs away slowly in a corner, worrying about his unbuttoned shirt sleeves.
Yes. Yes. You should be worried.
Fine Arby Tote
extra
Right.
buttons?
You are being chased by a
can
gaggle
help
of
it.
5 goblins. What are you doing?
You 5, with me! I think I saw them up the top. They were preparing to dive off into the lake. Let's get
Yeah,
them!
make that charisma roll, buddy.
Yes, that is a 21.
All right, they're still following you. I mean, they were following you already. They were just going to tear your clothes off. But, now they're following you with an intent to find the people who are escaping.
Yes, perfect. I am going to run up to the top where there was prime diving locations, and point them to look over the edge,
Okay.
over further. You can see the splashes, and then I will kick them off.
Okay, make 1 giant attack roll.
The splashes they make themselves. Yay! I
All right.
found.
So in classic Cutter style, you start from the back and push, and they all sort of fall into the water. Some of them are, however, aquatic goblins. They just like whoop, whoop, swim off. The others just, kind of sink, but they're busy getting after themselves. Like, "Why you? How dare you be better dressed than us and take advantage of our generosity and willingness to help strangers?"
I'll swirl around, flourishing the nasty but stylishly derelict robes, and then I'll start running down to the bottom to try and get to the boat before they push off.
You jump in.
You've pushed off so long.
Yeah, in fact, they pushed off so far that you have to run out a little farther, and they stop for a second as you jump in. But as you're disappearing into the fog in your sail ship, you look back, and you see goblins diving, groups getting into boats. Obviously, the group that you took advantage of, Fine Arby, has now alerted other people as to your deception. And you see far behind you, as you disappear into the mists, groups of ships moving out to try and find you, as well as various aquatic goblins rippling out through the water, also to try and locate you. You have a rudder, you have sails, but the water is still. There are oars available, but should you use them, you will make noises.
Does anyone know where we're going?
Shah speaks up. Look, I will indicate the direction that you must go. Just points, and their little beetle form comes up, and they start reaching out with their little arm and pointing in a direction. Now follow me this way. Follow me this way.
But should we really trust this beetle?
Duster, can you get Scroll to tow us?
I can certainly try. Do we have a rope?
Yep, there are ropes on the ship.
Okay. I will put the rope into Skrull's little chattering teeth and tell him to pull the ship.
Okay. I mean, bless them, they're trying. The ship is moving. The sail is still filling with the wind to a degree. The water is still, but there is a light breeze that's coming through.
Yeah.
The skull is moving you, but very, very slowly.
Has anyone got a big fart? We can pull the sails with it and get us moving.
What if we try to summon
how are the
some...
aquatic goblins moving their ships?
How are the other goblins? Well, you can hear them.
Yes.
They appear to be using
splashing.
oars. Yeah.
Well, we can do the same and just blend in.
Well, I used to row fours on the Urin River back in my old college days. I'm sure I could take that up again.
Well, go on then.
It's not quite the sleek, piss-cutting vessel that I'm used to, but I can make a go of it.
All right. So you pick up the oars and start to make a noise. Sooner, you're making up better speed between the skull pulling and, Fine Arby rowing, making good speed, till eventually you hear a, "Hoi! Who goes there?" And a little head bobbing up out of the water.
Just us goblins?
"Answer me! I hear you mumbling."
We're on their tail! They went that way! And I gesture over my head with the impeccable form. Uh-huh!
Make a deception roll, please. Charisma.
That is a 17.
All right, I'll follow behind. Come on, boys. And now there's as you go, there are three others who are you hear the ripples. Three others in the water following along behind you.
Speed up. I'll help Pro as well.
Excellent. Yeah, you jump on the oars, and especially with your help, a little bit of extra strength, oomph in there, going. But really, all the help is being done by Grill. And you move through the mists. Shah is still pointing the way, pointing the way, until eventually you see a shadowy shape sort of emerging on the water in front of you. Who is on the rudder?
Ooh, me.
Yep. Controlling direction of the ship.
Sure.
Please make a wisdom perception roll to see if you can do anything about this object that's looming up at you out of the mist.
I have notes on everything, including how to use.
You do have notes
rudder.
on everything, so you could probably identify what it is, but that's not going to help you control the ship.
So that's a 5.
Bong! It very quickly comes into view, and it is another ship, 6 goblin ore ship with like 6 goblins in it, just rowing, and you're like, you like collide straight into it. You're like, wah! The aquatic goblins that are following behind you like swim around like, what? So I'm going to go in reverse order. Dusty Snibs, what are you doing?
I am going to catch Squirrel as he flies through the air after this impact.
Well, it's sort of like, because you've stopped suddenly, Squirrel is pulling forwards and then slingshots back.
Yeah.
You're just like, donk. What do you do? What else do you do?
Prepare to board.
Okay, you're prepared to board.
Yeah, I'm gonna board.
Okay. Woo! Okay, you find yourself sitting there. They're all like, what? They, however, if they do see through your cunning disguise, they see the starkly starched white frills that hide out from underneath your clothes. They're like, it's them! And they are now prepared for action. Would you like to make an attack of some description?
Yes.
Well, they are shocked.
I don't think it's an electric shock. I think it's a necrotic shock.
It is a necrotic shock, in fact.
So I will just go with the tried and true shock the goblins.
Okay, well, I mean, you shocked them with your stark collar, but make an attack roll. Meanwhile, Fine Arby, you were rowing, but you felt the collision.
Yep. So Fine Arby is going to stand up with one of his oars and follow Duster Snibs over the balustrade into the other ship, waving the oar left and right, hopefully braining
All right,
goblins
make a
with
couple
it.
of attacks. How did you go, Dustin?
22.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, they roll damage, please.
14.
Excellent. So one of them just gets fried. You see his eyeballs and smoke like sink into his face as smoke comes out of his mouth and ears. Nelly Prod, what are you doing?
I have heightened senses, so I hope I've kept my balance well enough
You have?
to try to attempt a jump onto the other ship.
Excellent. Go for it. And Fine Arby, how did you go?
And
Fine Arby swung for a 12 and an 11 and a 10, I believe. He's more of a shouter than a fighter.
They're very distracted by you right now, that's for sure. How did you go, Nelly Prod?
They look great.
All right, easy. You jump on, hold stability on the ship as you jump over. Do you want to make some attacks?
yeah, I'm gonna try to do the big swing with the oar as well,
All right.
and try to throw them overboard.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to say you can clean one side of the ship, 3 goblins sitting down with a single sweep. They're all going to be contested strength rolls. So you just make one roll, and they're trying to beat whatever you get.
Okay, that is a 13.
All right, cool. Well, 2 of them get knocked off and fall overboard into the water. One of them manages to duck down and avoid the swing dot point.
I will fix my withering glare upon them, and then I will cry out, "Do you, sir, have,
All right.
in fact, a fishing license that is current? Do you? Have you thought about it?" And I roll a 5.
Oh,
Okay, cool. Look, that's some damage. Look, they definitely know they don't have a fishing license, but they're staring back at you defiantly in spite of this burning gaze that you push at them. They refuse to get a fishing license. Sir!
Well, they had
Drimhank,
better consider it.
they do, yes. It's exactly what they do.
Ooh, I'm going to jump into the boat and use my bow to hit something. Maybe there's someone who... I'm going to try fishing with my bow.
I need you to make a dexterity roll. And also, dot point, please make a dexterity roll for your leap.
That's a 7 for my leap.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your withering glare is cut short as you Drim Hank. You saw everyone else do it. Surely it was easy. You're like, but
I was going to say
as you step
Twinkle Toes, but
Twinkle Toes.
Twinkle Toes.
Go on.
Nope, no, same number.
Yeah, okay. As you go to step off the ship moves out from under you, and you're like, whoa! This is why boarding hooks are good. Or boat hooks, I think. So the ship slips out from under you, and you go straight into the water.
Right.
The goblins on the other ship are going to jump up. They swing at you. What's your armor class, Fine Arby?
17.
Cool.
Is it really the other ship? It's our ship now.
So Duster, one of them swings at you and hits for 3 points of damage. 2 of them swing at you and hit Fine Arby, funnily enough, for a total of 9 points of damage.
Oh, wow. I get a
short
rapidly...
sword.
Looks very dashing anyway.
It does look dashing. You're drawing their attention away from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Duster Snibs, you are... actually, Drim Hank, let me see the intelligence test of these. So, the aquatic goblins that were trailing behind see you two falling into the water, Drim Hank and Dot Point, and grab you and help you up to get back onto your ship.
Our ship or our other ship?
The previous ship.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, they're helping. They're like, it's all right, we've got you, buddy. Duster Snips.
I would like to throw Skrull at the goblin that is attacking me and grab an oar and try to reach it out to the other ship that is floating away so that once Drim Hank and Dot Point are on the ship, they can grab it and pull themselves close
There are
again.
boat hooks on the ship.
Oh, then I will grab a boat hook. Even better.
Yeah, for exactly this purpose. Excellent. Pick it up, reach out, pull it in. The ship's now connected. Fine, Arby.
Petunia! To help your master! And I'll be waving the oar around while, wiping off some of that blood. Petunia's going to try and proboscis some things. I'm going to try and hit others with an oar. And we'll see how we go.
Okay, see how you go.
Petunia gets a 14. Fine Arby finally hits something on an unnatural 20.
Very unnatural.
But with a face full of ore.
Excellent. Give me some damage.
That'll be 16 points of damage with the ore.
Just caves in their skull as they fall off the side of the ship, and Petunia jumps on the one that had already been damaged and just, as she loves to do, throws that wibbly proboscis right into the ear hole and starts lapping up the precious brain juices. Nelly Prod, there is just one left on this ship.
Might as well just throw that one off and be done with it.
Give me a contested strength roll.
Strength roll?
Yeah.
Oh, that's no good. That's a 4.
Okay, you go to grab them, and they just hold on to the bottom, and you're like, Dot Point?
I will endeavor to cross over to the other ship.
Okay. It's hooked on now, so you don't need to roll. Just you can just walk straight on over. And, of course, there is one other person still hanging on who Nelly Prod is trying to throw violently into the water.
Well, I will make my way over, and I will remove my hat to reveal my full status.
Your fine wig of status.
Yes, they should quake in fear, and I cast my gaze upon them, and that's a 13.
Right. That is enough.
And that is for 5 points of damage.
Oof. The final one is now just trying to slink into the bottom of the ship, pretending that they don't exist at all. They're sort of backing away. Drim Hank.
I know that feeling. I'm very good at slinking into places and pretending I am not there. I'm going to slink into that boat and try and track him down and chuck him overboard.
All right.
Nope.
Ferret him out.
4.
Look, well, there is just but one left at the moment. They are trying to pretend they're a part of the ship, and eventually they just slink out. You arrest them. Is there any reason you'd like to keep this one alive? You are all there.
Yeah, questioning.
All right.
We truss him up, gag him, chuck him in the bilge. presuming this little dinky thing has a bilge. If not, we make a bilge and put it in there.
All right, and you continue on. This is just a rowboat, doesn't have a sail, but that's all right. You weren't using the sail much before. You continue on your way until eventually Shah is able to point the direction, and you slide up on a muddy shore. And as you hit the muddy shore, you hear, Nell Eprod, a familiar cry in the distance. Just faint to start with, but distinct. And it is the cry of a wild jackalope deep in the woods. Perhaps, could this be your compatriots coming to rescue you? Were you not, in fact, forgotten?
Exciting. Yes, friends. They come. Can I respond?
Yeah.
Okay. Will it draw attention to us? I'm gonna do it anyway. Good work. I'm gonna make a jackalope call.
Live your truth.
You rise up, singing out into the wilderness, and as you call out, there is a response. I believe that's how bunnies sound on the screen. I was looking at videos just last night. Very important.
I'll need some references.
The cry echoes through the forest. There is a response, and you know the direction to head.
What could possibly go wrong?
Run!
Let's do it.
All right,
Run,
you
run!
make haste.
Perhaps you could carry me?
It's a lot to carry him.
All right,
Can't take the whole boat with us.
you run, thundering through the wilderness, moving as best you can. You have definitely had your time in the verdant waste before, and you know what to watch out for. You're familiar with the dangers. Nelly Prod takes the lead, moving, their senses alive, tingling in the wilderness, familiar with all the dangers, pointing out anything that might get in your way. You move. 1 hour passes, 2 hours passes. Occasionally, you raise your head up to cry out again to get the direction, and an echo is always responding, getting closer and closer each time. Until eventually, you bustle through into a clearing, and you see the head of a jackalope, about this big, raised high to the sky, under which is a curling shell that descends to a small mouthpiece that's being blown by a frog wearing a tiny hat with a broad, spiky-toothed grin and stitches across their body. Looming out from behind a nearby boulder comes a large, lumbering, flesh-like golem, similar to the cat, the witch-born hunter that you'd seen before, but with a sparkle of intelligence in their eyes, floating up above the tree line, spiraling down as their balloon skirts circle around their body and a large spike protrudes from beneath them, is the white painted face of a doll-like creature. Crackles of orange energy emerging from their body. A wide grin comes across the face of the frog. It's like, I've been hunting jackalopes for years, and I see you brought me a new pair of ears. Orange energy crackles from the doll-like creature behind him.
Petunia, get that orange thing. So I'll get Petunia. I'll signal to loop around and attack at the sides for those fine ear holes of this orange crackling doll thing.
Who is flying some 15 feet above the ground.
That is more challenging.
But, you know, Petunia can leap. They are
Good luck, Petunia.
sports deer.
Yeah, they're a high-performance quadruped. And so, fine Arby not being able to leap 15 feet in the air is going to run towards the frog with the jackalope horn.
As you do, the frog does a quick
All
flourish
at
of their
the ready.
dropping the jackalope horn to the side, producing a strange-looking pistol and a large saber with signals blowing up the side. You engage?
I've got an oar. Oh, yes.
You
I engage.
also have your club. You haven't been stripped of your equipment.
Oh, that's those fools. I'll toss the oar as I go and withdraw my sledgehammer and fit my spiky, shiny helm to my head again. The sledgehammer gets a 15. The helmet gets an 8. Petunia gets a 23.
Oh, look. Petunia is amazingly jumps up, latches their little nimble legs around the creature, and its proboscis goes deep into.
Swizzle stick right up the nose for 9 points from Petunia.
Awesome. And then we have Dot and Nell going simultaneously. So who would like to go first?
Nell can go first. I think that's important.
Okay, I'm going to transform again and rant and gibber about this horrible traitor.
You can have
who did
advantage
this
to
my
your roll to
brethren.
transform, because obviously the horror of having your brethren turned into a horn to lure out others like you.
Yeah, that's insanely messed up, man. Okay, and that is a 17 again.
Nice. Oh, sorry. As you transform into rage, and then you can take an attack action if you like.
Okay, can I charge and headbutt?
Yes, so there is the large sort of square-headed.
The frog.
Back into the frog, same as Fine Abbey Toot, right? Excellent. Make the attack roll, please.
Yep. Hate that frog. That's a 16.
That is just enough to hit. You headbutt into them, and they go flying up into the air. Apart from the damage that you're about to roll, they also take 4 points of impact damage as they come back down to the ground.
Nice.
Excellent. Okay, and that is 2d8 plus 3. Just find those. And that makes 12.
So, Dot, what would you like to do?
I would like to fix my glare on the large, meaty one and to make it feel very ashamed of itself.
Fair enough. Make an attack roll. You can fix its glare.
That's a 12.
All right. It appears to have very narrow eye slits and possibly limited intelligence. You're not even sure if it knows what a graph is.
What? That's impossible.
First, you need to educate it. Then you can terrify it.
Yes, well, do our best.
All right. Unfortunately, it is immune to your ways. And then we have Snips. Oh, yeah, fine, Avi. Snips. Yes, you're up.
I would like to find a quiet corner and sit down and unpack reinforcements from my backpack.
Excellent. So you put together, I believe you take the turn to, you're going to assemble the High Marshal?
Yes.
Nice. All right, so you take the turn to assemble the High Marshal, and then you pull out the High Marshal's sword. I believe it's called the Ripple Wind, which you've also conveniently been stashing in your backpack as proof that it is the High Marshal and not just some random soul you sort of like stashed into the body. And the High Marshal is slowly being assembled. Excellent. And then these guys act. So, first, the frog bounds back up. You've pushed the frog like about 10 feet away from you, so it jumps up in the air. As it jumps up in the air, it turns down, sees you, and faces its pistol in your general direction. Nelly prod. Crack, and a flash of eldritch energy just goes up and down the length of the pistol, and just a bolt goes through and hits the ground next to you, but it fires crack, again, and a second bolt as you're like bounding towards it. It's like one goes to the left, one goes to the right, and then as it lands, it's coming down and making a sweeping blow into you, Fine Arby, which again, it just misses. For all of its fanfare, it is absolutely stunned and has had the wind taken out of it by your strike, Nelly Prod, but it's now on the other side of Fine Arby Toot, right, from you. The porcelain creature sort of it's got the Petunia sort of like it's like and just puts hands directly on it, touching at it. You see Petunia leeched of life, turning into a desiccated husk, and then throbbing, an explosion of Petunia's delicate Bambi-like fur, fine live legs, and internal organs spatters across the whole battlefield. Everyone is covered in a light rain of gore and or viscera.
Of Petunia.
Petunia, however, that was primarily their action, is destroying Petunia. The large creature you were trying to intimidate takes none of your intimidation dot point and lumbers across the ground towards you, picks up a rock, hurling it in your general direction. You're like, whoa! Duck down as the rock just flies immediately over your head, just grinding into the ground behind you. Picks up another rock and throws it in the general direction of Drim Hank. So this giant boulder is coming at you, Drim Hank.
I'm going to dodge.
Please make a dexterity roll. Dexterity saving throw, in fact.
With my twinkle toes.
Okay, take that at advantage.
Oh, so that is 17.
All right. So you only take half damage, which is probably a good thing. So you only take 7 points of damage.
Nice.
As you scrape under and the boulder just catches you sort of along the back, scraping, ripping open a tear in your jacket as you duck to the ground.
Not my jacket.
Throws. And then, of course, fine Arby, you are up. This frog with the swirl and the coat and the tiny hat, looking stylish, almost more stylish than you. It's facing off directly against you.
Right. I swipe Petunia out of my eyes, and then with a run and a swirl, I try and hammer this frog's face
I think you should also swipe
completely
Petunia in like some sort of battle.
Okay, so that the first swipe with the hammer hits a 20,
Do it.
and the follow-up headbutt gets an 8. But that hammer hits hard for a 15 points worth of frogging.
He tries to bear it on his arm, but it comes in higher against his shoulder and staggers back. You see him slide into the mud as he gets pushed back. Nell, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the frog is down on the ground now?
No, still standing, but just been pushed like 5 feet away from Fine Arby. You can easily close on it.
I'm still gonna... Did he drop the gun?
Nope.
Okay. I'm gonna headbutt the frog again, but also try to get the gun.
All right.
So I'm gonna try to headbutt him down,
giant-
not away.
Jackalope, weird jackalope fingers are probably going to be hard to sort of grab the gun, but you can just grab the whole hand. You wouldn't be able to use it as all.
Yeah. I can grab the gun and throw it to someone who can.
Okay.
I just don't want him to have
Yeah,
it.
fair enough. All right, so
Okay.
make an attack roll to grab the gun and then a separate attack roll to hit him.
Okay, to grab the gun is a 15.
Okay, that's not quite enough because it's a more difficult check than usual. You have to beat the armor class by 5. You should like grab at it. It's like pulls back, but go for the headbutt.
Okay. And that's a 16.
Okay, that does in fact
Just.
Yes.
damage.
And that's the 2d8 again. All right. 14.
Nice. Okay, he's looking rough around the edges. He's sort of like knocked him back. It doesn't go all the way in the air this time, but he's like picked up off the ground. It's like bumps, rolls along the ground. It's like stacked in the ground. A big huff comes out of his chest. Snibs, it's you.
Well, is the High Marshal constructed? Have I finished that?
The High Marshal is in fact fully constructed. They take their Ripplewind sword, raise it to the sky. You've chosen the right thing to do today, young necromancer. This trial will be my combat.
Good, very good. And I have control of them. If so, I'll send them into combat.
That's right. They are. You are continuing to animate them, and they go about their business, rushing into the fray, tearing into the environment. They move into the biggest target ahead of them, which is Frank, which is the large, lumbering behemoth that's hurling the boulders. And they swing twice with the Ripplewind sword. The first strike, they're sort of trying to get bearings back into their bones, and swings up, and as they swing, you see the dirt being carved up from the ground, sort of fanfare of earth just flying into the air. It goes near Frank, and Frank turns around, and then the High Marshal comes in again, lifts the Ripplewind sword over his head, and sweeps across, and it cuts in through the middle of Frank, cutting in deep, severing, breaking a few ribs. You see bits of bone fall out to the side, blood and viscera, and then knocking them back. They fly back a full 20 feet, smashing against a tree. But they are not down, just startled.
Excellent. Who's left? They're both left standing.
All three of them are there. And the porcelain-looking woman who's like floating in the air who just destroyed Petunia, is looking down and ready to do anything nasty to everyone.
Right, I'm going to get out my bow and shoot at the porcelain thing.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm so bad at losing dice. That's a 19 plus 5, 24 to hit.
Absolutely hits.
And that is 9 damage.
Arrow goes around, striking across their face. Their head cracks back and then completely turns around the other direction. Fixes in on you. Then they bring their hands up, pushing them together, and snaps their fingers around, and a arc of energy comes around you. Please make a dexterity saving throw, Dream Hank.
Nope.
All right. You fail to get out of the way, so you take the full brunt of 10 points of damage, and you find yourself shackled to a nearby tree, unable to move from this position. She then sort of turns around and looks and sees her friend being under attack from the High Marshal, but then sees the frog being under attack in a terrible position, and so her dress starts spinning, and she swims, flies right down at you, Fine Ivy Toot Right, attempting to pierce you, swinging down, its spike spinning through the air as it comes down, and what's your armor class?
17.
Straight across from your body. Doing 13 points of damage.
Ha! It'll take more than that to stop Fine Arby Toot Right, the 15th of the 15th company. Not much more, mind you, but more than that.
Trim, you're up again. Yeah. Trim?
So I'm shackled to a tree.
Yep. So you're restrained, but you can still act.
I can still act. I don't think I can use my bow, given the fact that I'm currently restrained. So I will try and get out of the restraints from at least one hand free to get my blow dart out, and maybe can I hit the frog? Is the frog still alive?
Yeah, the frog's still alive, but very weak. So likely, if successful blow dart hit will take them out.
All right. So that is 20.
Absolutely hits.
None unnatural. Excellent, and
they're about to leap in the air to redress themselves. And as they do so,
and it's 6
they
damage.
raise they go, and they open their mouth, and you straight in. Their eyes roll back in their head, and they collapse and splatter of mud spreading out through the environment.
Yes.
And then we're going to go to Dot.
All right. I think I'm going to glare at this giant floating porcelain figure. See if I can do something to them, given the situation we find ourselves in. I cannot. It's an 8.
They're just moving too fast. You can't make eye contact. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to it's them. So, oh no. So she did that.
Fine, Abby, I think.
Frank, sorry, I missed the big guy. So big guy comes up, frog's gone down. The big guy comes up and just reaches. He's been pushed into the tree, but he reaches back, and you hear this tearing noise. He just rips a giant branch off the tree and swings it straight down onto the High Marshal. I'll do it. The High Marshal is unfortunately in their mummified state, not great at dodging things. And so their physical form gets crushed into the ground beneath the bulk of this tree trunk. They've just been smashed in with this, sort of pounded right down into the mud. Their little arms sticking out, the sword kind of just flailing off to the side. He then reaches over, grabs a boulder, picks it up, takes aim at someone he doesn't like, which is going to be Duster Snibs, who's cackling in the background. Obviously, throws a boulder in your general direction, but it flies clean away from you, smashing into another trunk, splintering wood, spatters throughout the environment. Fine, Arby, you are up.
I have this thing right where I want it. It flew down, so it is now within arm's reach, and it is attached to me, having stabbed me clean through the chest. So it's a hammering time. I'm going to headbutt it and hammer it and get all of the revenge that hopefully it has coming to it. That is a 13 with the hammer and a 23 with the head.
The 23 hits, for sure.
Okay, great. So, the
Dot,
spiked helmet does
Nell,
9 points of damage.
Awesome. Spike, clean through it. Nell, what are you doing?
So, big guy with the branch is still going, right?
Big guy with the branch is still going. This porcelain creature is still going. The frog seems to be down for the count for the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can I grab the gun?
Yes, dropped on the ground. You do have big hand fists, though.
Yeah, no, I'm going to grab the gun and throw it towards one of the others who looks capable of shooting a gun and isn't currently holding
Well, your
something.
choice of Duster Snibs or Drimhank.
Okay, Drimhank seems to be in a bit of a pickle, so I'll go for them.
All right. A dexterity roll, please, from you, Nell E. Prod.
Yep, gotcha. That is a 15.
Awesome. You have advantage on your dexterity roll to catch that, Drimhank.
And that is a 12.
Excellent. You're like, you don't grab it, but it does fall to the ground at your feet, and you'll be able to pick it up in your next turn. It is less graceful,
Excellent.
but in your general vicinity. Excellent. So anything else you'd like to do, Nelly?
I would like to headbutt and try to knock over the big guy.
All right, awesome. So you make a leap across the area, come in, and give him a headbutt. He's already sort of back to a tree with a big slice open, so go.
Excellent. Okay, that is a good roll. It's a 20 non-natural.
That is absolutely going to hit. It will fail his Constitution saving throw. So he goes sliding up the tree. He actually goes over and behind you about 10 feet. You just basically do like, slamming him onto his head.
Excellent. Good stuff.
All right, so Dot Point starts to sink into the background. They turn their eyes, trying to once more fix their gaze on this porcelain person with a withering glare. But again, they're spinning too fast and aren't able to take notice. Snibs, it's you.
So, I think at this point, I will just try to zap the doll.
She recoils back as the purple energy starts to sap some of her life force, and she comes up, rising into the air just above you. Seeing you as a threat, seeing everyone as a threat, she then turns around, sees that Drimhank is still caught. She whips a finger around in the air, and Drimhank, the shackles that are on you tighten immediately causing you 7 points of damage as you feel the eldritch forces slicing into you deeper.
Well, that would be me unconscious.
You fall to the ground unconscious. She then whirs it up and sees Fine Arby once more on the ground and just starts dancing around. She spins around you, blades come out from under her skirt. As she starts spinning around in the air. Please make a dexterity saving throw to avoid said blades.
That would be a 19.
You duck beneath them, completely avoiding the attack. However, she's doing a wide circle that Nelly Prod will catch you in it as well, so please make a dexterity saving throw.
That is an 8.
Excellent. You spin around and she gets into you and you get caught in the raft of blades. You take 7 points of damage as the blades cut across your back, cutting deep into you. While you are distracted by her, the large golem sort of stands up behind you and sort of sees you jumping up to its full size, which means his hair, the top of his head just comes up to the top of your horns in your weir form, reaches into the ground, grabs a rock, reaches into the ground, grabs a rock, and goes whoosh, trying to bring them together to try and smoosh your head. 17, which absolutely hits. But can you please, and just does 22 points of damage as you just get slammed together between these two large rocks either side.
Yeah, that's bad. Sorry, 23, did
22.
you say? 22. Oh, okay, I'm on one hit point.
All right.
Fun.
You stagger back, stunned from the force. Find RB2 right. It is you.
Ooh. I did a death save. I survived. I'm alive
nice.
still.
Fine Arby, can Fine Arby get to their feet, run over, grab that wave cleaver sword thing, and start slashing away at that stupid doll?
All right, awesome. You did notice the two attacks that he made. One attack was a sweeping. One attack was like a sweeping attack that sent a gust of force across the ground. So it was like a ranged attack, and then he came up and did a cutting, slicing attack that did a blow at distance. Up close, sorry. Up
Fantastic.
Close. What would you like to do?
Both of them, if I can.
You have 2 actions. You grab the sword.
I do have 2 actions. Great. I'm going to run, grab the sword. I'm going to try and run and use my athleticism to do a jumping chop at this stupid doll that blew up my high-performance
Make an attack roll.
Deer.
I'll give you...
That is a 20, not an unnatural 20 on that attack
please roll 2d12 damage for me.
Ooh.
Ooh, revenge hit.
Could have been better. 6.
You do get to add your strength bonus to that.
That would be 8.
All right. However, she does get slammed right into the ground for an extra d6 points of impact damage. Hits the dirt, lies prone. You have a second attack.
Fantastic. We just keep on. Oh, okay. That is. Thank you.
Look,
and I'm just going to
absolute revenge. You've done the sweep up.
Thank
into
you.
the air,
Dice
and you're
charm.
coming down on top of them with your blade thumping into the ground.
Okay, so 8, 11, 19, 25, 27 points.
Broken pieces of porcelain and desiccated flesh shatter into the environment, flying everywhere. As the earth gets torn, she's blasted asunder from your mighty, mighty blow. The large square-jawed creature cries in rage up into the sky Nell, it's you. You're staggering back, stunned from the two rocks that just slammed either side of your head.
I'm about to go down. Yep. And the large guy is still there, right?
Oh yeah,
Behind
looking very angry.
the
In
two
fact,
rocks.
even angrier.
Okay. Well, I'm even angrier. So we'll see who is the angriest among us. It's time for the thumping feet and the headbutt.
Okay. And Justice Snibs, you are next. If you want to think about what you actually, yes, you are next.
Okay. Is this 2 attacks that I'm rolling?
That's correct.
Okay, one of them is a 19, and the other one is a 15.
The 19 hits.
And
Is that the
that's a
headbutt or
D12
the thumping feet?
plus 3. The thumping feet is first, so I'll roll the damage for that first. Let's assume that one hits. Okay, and that's 10 damage.
Excellent. All right. Knocks him back a little bit. Opens up the wounds that are already in his torso. Duster, what are you doing?
I'm going to sick my skull on the giant.
Okay.
And I'm also going to zap the giant. So with the skull, I rolled a 22. And that's 8 damage. And with the zap, I rolled a natural 20.
Okay.
Plus 4.
Well, obviously do double damage on that one, please. And then everything, give me a total.
13.
Okay. So skull flies in, zapping energy. The giant, just like slammed in, sees you, and then just swings out a big punch into Nelly Prod, missing. Swings out again, missing second time. Nelly Prod just like ducks back, the agile movements of the bunny, helping out here. The jackal weighs, the newt senses, you might be low on everything. You're managing to duck and weave, look like a butterfly, sting like a jackalope. What they say. Grim Hank lies faint on the ground. Getting out of them. Dot point rises out from the corner. Trying to fix their stare intently on the creature, but it is unresponsive. Its low levels of education do not even acknowledge the administrative right. Dot point. Even though the attempt is valiant. And so they swing, they miss, and then Fine Arby stand up from the ground, panting heavily, bleeding from multiple wounds, brandishing the sword. As you turn around, you see this creature before you.
Fine Arby spits a hank of dark green blood onto the ground and then runs swinging. Swing number 1 hits for an 18. The follow-up itself hits for a 23.
Cross, swinging through the air, blasting force, a grip of the winds that curl out magically from the enchanted blade. The thing drawn and quartered. Dust cloud moves out from it. It falls to the ground. Its parts blasted anon. You stand there, breathing heavily. Nelly Prod stands there, breathing heavily. Back. Dust to Snibs, creep out of the shadows, having heard a noise from behind you. And you look around, seeing more creatures crawling out of the wilderness from around you. Witch-born hunters, twisted cats, and other monstrosities, luring in numbers uncounted. But then, Nelly Prod, it appears your cries must have been heard by someone beyond. For bounding out of the wilderness comes a bevy of jackalope riders on giant, full-sized jackalopes, crushing the witch-born hunters, and spiriting you away from this desolate place, with all prizes intact. Grim Hank still in order, and all together, succeeding in escaping from the swamps, and concluding the third part of this third annual Goblins of Zarth event. Liveplay, thank you so much for joining us within Tabletop Dynasties. We will go over a little epilogue to discuss what happened to the characters and their past as they return to the capital with the body of the High Marshal of the army, the sacred banner in tow, the Ripplewind sword, and new friends, starting new lives in a new environment. We'll start with an epilogue from Fine Arby 2.
Fine Arby returns in covered in glory, if not necessarily at the head of the 15th Company, which, when all is said and done, also completely disappeared into the swamps. But they died doing what they loved, which was serving me, and so with definitive proof of the deaths of all of my ancestors, Fine Arby moves into his palatial estate in one of the finer suburbs of the city for a life of utmost luxury with a legion of people to polish his now newly earned medals. Everyone is welcome to be employed for Fine Arby if they want to be. They have standing offers of servitude.
Excellent. Of course, they will make their independent decisions from what goes on in their life. Drimhank, what happens to you post the whole hullabaloo?
Oh yeah. Well, I take some time to recover, and then I take all this information and produce a tell-all book defining the historical nature of the 13th Legion going missing and our quest. And it's polished up beautifully because I get Dot to assist with that as well, and I make sure that people know all the secrets that I know, so that they can never fall prey to those ridiculous lies that are held from above again.
Excellent.
But it's yeah, I think it sells well. I think there's 3 people who bought it.
Nice. And Duster Snibs, what do you do post all of this?
Duster Snibs spends quite a long time reconstructing the body of the High Marshal after it was smushed by a tree, after being mummified, after being packed into a backpack, and oversees the trial of the High Marshal. And when that is complete, she returns to her position as journeyman necromancer under the High Necromancer with her own slightly skittering assistant.
Excellent. Your new bug friend, Shah, is there to help you and learn all that you learn, and eventually rise up, applying their own lessons from their time spent with the great hag, Ilad the Wicked. And those lessons creep into your mind as well. And so not just necromancy, not just necromancy, but also demonology starts to fuel your path for growth. Nelly Prod. You now decide what it is that you do with your time after. Do you return to Zarenthal, or do you go to Zarenthal to experience what life in the great city and the Imperial Court is, receiving a hero's welcome? Or do you retire to life on the plains or the steppe lands of Zarth? Or do you decide to wage a guerrilla war against those creatures that still live in the swamps, haunting your family in the past?
Definitely that last one. But if other people are going to Zarenthal first, I will go with them and check it out and see if I can learn things, find useful things, and then it's guerrilla war time.
Rally,
your eyes are going to be opened. We're going to take you to the dankest of clubs, the finest of establishments.
But at the end of the day, you decide that what you learn here will just arm you better to wage your ongoing war against the cultists of the Hag Mother and Ilad the Wicked themselves. Dot Point, please give us your epilogue.
I think Dot Point is going to write up some very comprehensive reports, which are going to be published in triplicate, of course, and submitted to the Administrative Goblins journals, which will hopefully be received with only minor difficulties amongst the debates and circles that spring up to discuss this.
Minor redacting.
Minor redacting.
Of course, the final trial is a great fanfare, as the High Marshal is put on trial for their crimes. And in their defense, they did try and defend you, but to stand against them are the very many other souls that were left behind. Their complete incompetence in their behavior sees them now sold off. But why kill them for eternity when somebody like that can be condemned to an eternity of absolute misery? And so his soul is put into the body of an incredibly small, underdeveloped goblin skeleton, and then forced to live in service in a public monument, cleaning everybody's shoes for all time, chained to said monument. So if you have any clean shoes, please go off to Junt Rutta and visit the small shrine where the High Marshal will clean your shoes forever and a day. We have been Tabletop Dynasties. We've been having a great time hanging out with you guys and having a nice time today. I would like to remind everyone that we are going to be in CanCon on the weekend of the 21st of January, running the first actual IRL Zarantharul fun run with real models and real miniatures of the cities. The blurb is going to be going up at the end of this week, so if you want to jump on the CanCon website, find all the activities, get involved, we'd love to have you. It's going to be a absolute ball. If you're interested in any of the Goblins of Zarth products, you can find us through the Quest suppliers selling digital content. You'll also be able to get a copy of the original Goblins of Zarth Up and Up book at CanCon, or look us up wherever we may be. Thank you again to Dante and the wonderful team from Arkham Forge for providing us with the lovely graphics. And thank you so much to the Australian role-playing community for facilitating this great event. It's something we really look forward to every year. And hopefully we'll see you on the screen again soon. Good night.